In this sport, you don't wait for judges to decide your fate. TenexToken puts you in control. Stake instantly, speculate discreetly, and keep your moves private. TenexToken. Play smart, play discreet.
This is Colin McGuigan for IFLTV. Edward.
Hello.
Do you know, I want to ask you a question, right? You went golfing with Ian Poulter yesterday. You must be the most frustrating man to golf with.
Why?
Because anytime I'm in your company, right, you're constantly on your phone. Now, obviously that's because you don't find me remotely interesting, which you're probably going to say. But I feel like with anyone, you're just constantly on your phone. You're working, you're doing...
You know what, yeah? I do have a problem of my mind is so active and I'm on my phone much too much. But yesterday I played golf and I actually left my phone in the buggy. I did check it now and again, but I really enjoyed being in the moment of what I was doing, which was a brilliant day with Ian Poulter. Like, I think we touched on it. I used to represent golfers. I nearly signed Ian Poulter years and years ago when I first started, but I missed out. And he was like, what's the best way to describe it? He was like a bit of a Fabio Wardley in the golf world, where it was like he didn't really have the pedigree. He was a club pro selling Mars bars in the shop, and everyone used to say that. But what he did was he had that something. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, he had ability, because you can't just have something and not have ability with it to get to the top. But he had something different. He had this tenacity about him, this will to win. And I learned a lot from him yesterday. It's actually quite interesting talking about surrounding yourself with the right people and the right company. And I think that's a massive lesson for life. Like, I think, and I find this a lot in the UK, right? And I know that it's not a great place to be right now. The people are more concerned about the why does it always happen to me negative mentality and worrying about other people's business, that when you start hanging around people that are very successful and driven, they don't care about other people. They don't want to talk about other people. They just want to worry about their own business. So like sometimes, you know, when you go to the UK, you hang around certain people and they're like, you sit down and they go, oh my God, oh, do you know, like, have you heard about so-and-so? Oh, have you heard about so-and-so? Can't believe that. Oh, do you see him post on Instagram? Oh, do you, and it
Sounds like me and you.
No, but that is, but you're one of those people that I'm talking about the bad energy. But do you understand what I mean? And he's like, so when I was playing golf, when I was coming through, I was hanging around with perhaps a group of players that were like, you know, oh, Mr. Cut today. Why do I always fucking on the, you know, went in the bunker and plugged in the bunker, and it's always fucking me, isn't it? Plugged in the, rather than the winners who have something completely different. And when you're in that company, you elevate yourself. So just a lesson to say, get away from the bad energy of negativity of people who tell you you can't do it, or tell you something will go wrong, or that's not for you. You're not supposed to do things like that. You're not allowed to do that. You've got to be limitless. And yeah, it was really interesting because I look at what he's achieved. Phenomenal. Like when this guy, like last time I really spent time around this guy, he just squeaked a European Tour card and everyone was going, he'll never make it. Guy's played 7 Ryder Cups. I mean, you should see his gaff. I mean, you know, he's cracked it, properly cracked it. And it was a really good day.
There's been reports that you were stabbed in Monaco. How many people have contacted you about this?
I came off the weigh-in and I had 7 missed calls. And I said, what on earth is going on here? And then Frank Smith came up to me. He said, it was actually Dr. Rackham, which is actually very nice. Phoned him and said, is Eddie okay? I've just seen the reports that he's been stabbed. I was like, I'm not even in Monaco. So this is just the classic Twitter news.
I hope you don't mind me saying this, right? You've completely come off Twitter. So just for people that don't know that.
I haven't come off Twitter, but I've come off reading and posting on there. So I don't control my Twitter account, but I control the content that goes on there. If that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Because what I was doing, same thing, what I said earlier, right? You sit there and you find and the negativity of X is so toxic. You don't need it, right? Great, I mean, at times, I guess, great information source. I don't know, if you want to be in that world and you want to be moaning, like, fine, not for me. And one of the best things I ever did was come off X. And I did it at the start of the year. And, like, why do you want the negativity infiltrating you? How can you become limitless? How can you be a why not guy if you're just being told no all the time? And you're just, every time you wake up, you go through Twitter, oh, this is violence here, this guy's been stabbed, someone's been murdered there, this war here, Eddie Hearn, you're a prick, reading stuff that you just said, like, and I'm reading it going, what on earth am I reading it? It's absolute bollocks. And the next thing, oh, have you heard about sometime? And it's like, no, remove myself from that. So that's why.
I feel like you finally matured now as you're coming into your 50s. Be honest, no, you have though, right?
I mean, it's my 50s, you cheeky fucker. No, I'm 46. I'm not, life, what I tell you, what I've learned, you never crack it in life. Stop looking for the perfect life. You can live a great life, and you can live a life of happiness that will be mixed with sadness and pain and problems, because that's life. But stop trying to live a perfect life. It doesn't exist. You can be the best you can be every single day. Try and be a good person. Yeah, that's really important. But I'm starting to really crack life now. And you won't, because what are you? Like, how old are you? I mean, to be honest with you, I look at you. You could be 47. You could be 13. You don't know. You're so confused. Do you know what I mean?
31.
31. Absolutely clueless. At 31, clueless. But I look at my old man now, he's 77. He knows everything you need to know about life. Because you have to live before you learn. Does that make sense? So, yeah, no, I wouldn't say, you say, I know that the basis of your statement was to try and get a laugh at saying in my 50s, but yeah, you learn all the time. You understand a lot more about life.
Do you lean on Baza for those type of things, or is it like different?
My dad, this is another thing that I've learned. I'm not my dad. Do you know what I mean?
You're very alike though.
Yeah, in some ways, and not in other ways. So I've probably made the mistake in the past of what would my dad do? Do you know what I mean? I'll go to him for advice. In this situation, what would you do? But then he's not me. So a lot of my qualities, I think, have come from him. And maybe some of my weaknesses. But although we're very similar in some ways, there's some ways we're actually not that similar. And I've learned in the past that you need to be your own person. Well, not necessarily in the past, but more as I've reached this age, it's okay to make your own decision. Because I've got the benefit of a great thinker and a great man to lean on for that kind of advice. You've got to make your own decisions because his decisions aren't always the right decisions for me. Does that make sense? So, and he's unbelievably selfish. He's the most selfish man you'll ever meet. And he's the most money-mad man you will ever meet. All he talks about is money.
Do you think you're the same?
No, not at all. Not at all. But I've got money, and I've always had money. The reason he's so money-obsessed is he never had money, and he wanted it so bad. Like, he grew up in a council estate in Dagenham. His mum, my nan, used to clean the houses of all the wealthy people outside, like in Essex. And he used to look at that with like despise and hate and think, I fucking want one of those houses. My mum cleans the houses of these, but I want that money. And that's why he's got to where he's got. He's a fucking vicious, driven motherfucker. But he's money mad. Like I find it very difficult to have a conversation with him that's not about business or money.
What's one business decision over the past 10 years that you've got wrong that you would love to change?
When you say like love to change, I look at
There has to be something that sticks out in your mind.
There are a few, but I'm a true believer that all of those mistakes actually lead you to become better at what you do. So I never look back and say, because I'll never do it again. Does that make sense? So when I made that mistake, the mistake will never happen again. And the mistake that I made was Anthony Joshua got beat by Andy Ruiz, and my head fell off, and I wanted Matchroom to bounce back. We just lost, a major fight. Frank Smith's just looking at me over there because he knows the story that I'm about to tell you, and he was probably one of the ones that said, I don't think this is a very good idea. And this was, how many years ago, Frank? 10? No, 21. 2019. 6 years ago. He still talks about it now. Right? And what I did was, Luke Campbell got made mandatory challenger to Vasily Lomachenko. And I said to Frank, we're going to bring Lomachenko to the UK. And he was like, oh, great. I said, it's never been done before. He's never come to the UK. He'll never come again. This is massive for Matchroom. And I rate Luke Campbell. I think maybe he could pull it off, but it will be phenomenal. He's like, okay. So we turned down the offer for Luke Campbell to go to the US, which we would have taken commission on and made good money anyway, to stage the fight in the UK. Now, the tickets sold out, but the pay-per-view flopped. And we done our conkers on the show. And actually, we done our conkers at a time where we didn't have many conkers. So it wasn't like now. If we did that now, you never all right, but still, it's like you win some, you lose some. That was like, how much? And when we reconciled the numbers, it was even worse than we thought it was. And it was a lot of money at the time.
Do you think that was your ego over anything else?
Yeah, that's why. But again, what I'm saying to you is, you learn from your mistakes and you learn from different situations. I will never do that again. I will never let it was a little bit of ego, but more emotion and I won't do that again. So when you say, do you wish you could change? I accept that mistake and I embrace that mistake and I know it will never happen again. And that's what my dad would say to me, like when my dad looked at the numbers and he's going down, it's like profit. What the fuck's this? He's not reactive to things that happen instantly, but at the end of the year or a board meeting, he'll go, what is that? And I'll go, what happened there was, and he's like, are you mad? I went, no, listen, I wrote, he goes, good, don't ever fucking let it happen again. That's what he'll say to me. And I'll go, trust me, it won't. And it's never happened again since, so that's okay.
What's the best decision you've made business-wise in the past 10 years?
Paying up for Charles Martin to fight Anthony Joshua for the world heavyweight.
Why?
Because you're going to get to a stage where no one will let you have a shot at the belt, right? Because you've got the hottest commodity in boxing. And at the time, we paid an absolute fortune to get Charles Martin. And I did the deal with Louis de Cubas, my mate. And for two fights after that, we had to pay them an additional fee because he was a champion. It's options. It's not, And it was a lot of money. And at the time, it was a fortune. And when I look back, that was probably the best deal I ever did because, obviously from there, he became world heavyweight champion. We got the Klitschko fight, 2 defences after that, Brazil and Molina, and then straight into the Klitschko fight, and, we were away.
What's your biggest regret of a fighter that you let go that when you'd done it, you just knew you'd made a mistake? Has to be someone comes to your mind.
Yeah, but again, never I made a mistake there. But there've been times where you've lost a fight. I'll be honest, it hurt at the time because I was young and I was quite inexperienced. But it definitely hurt when Carl Frampton left. Because I think we could have done some amazing things and we'd built Carl in a brilliant way. Obviously, I know that the McGuigans had put a lot of input in, but when we had that night with Kiko Martinez at Belfast for the European title, that was like, he wasn't really selling before. It wasn't like, but we boxed, he fought Molitor and he fought these kind of guys and it was going like this and then boom, it's like a sellout at the Odyssey and it's like, this is, and the atmosphere, as you know, in Belfast, well, you don't because you don't go to the shows, but it was just phenomenal. And I was like, wow. And that made me learn very quickly the fickleness of boxing, So, and then he signed with Queen's Box Nation at the time. And then Andy Alien, who worked for Box Nation, sent me a T-shirt, Box Nation T-shirt signed by Carl Frampton, saying thanks for everything or whatever. And I thought, yeah, It's a bit shit, isn't it, really? But then but you see that when loads of things like that happen to you, you just become emotionless to it, and that's a real asset of business, and that's an asset of my position now, is being emotionless. Sad in some ways, but not emotionless on Saturday night when I'm there and my guys or girl is in a fight, and it's like, that's never changed. But the emotion of business, you become unbelievably cold to it, and that's what sadly happens in boxing because of all the times you get let down. But you do have to establish that boxing is not life. As I said to you before, it's like sometimes, because in boxing, there's a huge amount of bad news, disloyalty, arseholes, lies, probably corruption. I mean, and that's not life. You can't just think that everybody's like that in life, because then you're going to be miserable out of work as well. It's quite a miserable business to work in. But not if you can get your mind right and just say, that's why now, when I tell my dad about a fighter, it might be like, I don't know, Richardson Hitchens or someone says something, and my dad goes absolutely berserk. He watches it on TV. She fucking, and I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, your head's fallen off. You're not even working on you don't even work in boxing. No, it's a fucking liberty. Fuck. And I'm like, I'm so chilled that it's just another one, and it's like, but when you meet a good one, that's when you got to really love. That's why I really love to be in great partnerships with fighters, because I want to be invested in their journey.
Well, the best ones, the likes of like Bellew, who didn't really have a contract, or AJ. But is that also worrying for you, or is it just a complete trust element?
Back in the day, you'd always have paperwork, but the contracts didn't exist like they do now, and that was a naivety from me. Bad business, really. Unfortunately, but that was a naivety of boxing, where for me, when I do a deal with you, or we agree something, that's my word, and that's not going to get broken. But you can't just expect everybody to be like that, because they're definitely not in boxing. But at the time, we were starting out in boxing, and as far as I was concerned, AJ was really the first fighter that we had a real proper promotional contract in terms of, before it might be a 2-pager or a 3-pager. But of course, once you reach that level and you're making that kind of investment, but with people like Darren and Tony Sims and Carl Froch and Rob McCracken and Kell Brook and his dad, for me, their word was enough. Very dangerous, because you're always open to assault.
Did you ever experience that?
No, not with them.
But with anyone in that regard?
Carl Frampton. He was a good example. I didn't have a contract with Carl Frampton. That was probably a mistake. I probably shouldn't have given Carl the opportunities that I did without tying him up on a long-term deal. It wasn't really my style, and it's never been my style. And it's sad that sometimes you actually have to do that, and that's why we got people like Sean Palmer and Frank who make sure that you're protected like that. For me, I don't need a contract, but unfortunately you do in this game, because people aren't trustworthy or loyal, and it's not the fighters. The fighters are actually loyal people. It's the people around them. And you imagine you get some of these snaky managers that go in and go, and they join the party and they go, so what contracts have you got with Matchroom? Oh, nothing, I've just got a handshake with him. The manager will go, oh, yes, right? And that's not the game I want to play, but unfortunately that's the game of boxing. So those early stages, you think that I didn't have a contract with Carl Froch going into the Groves fight, the Kessler fight, Butte fight, or a long-term deal. We'd paper a deal, but it wasn't like you were under a 5-fight, 2-year promotional contract. It was just but Carl was a solid guy, and I trusted him, and I trusted, and I trust to this day people like Tony Sims and Darren and, Kel. Kel's dad was a little bit difficult at times, but was an honest individual deep down, and I think Kel's dad knew how much I cared for Kel and the things that I did for him, and we sat in that kitchen many times, with ups and downs, and Bellew probably right up there, and Anthony Crolla, Crolla and Quigg, Crolla. There was a couple of times with Crolla, he probably, I remember that Warren was trying to sniff around for a Flanagan fight for big money, and we did an amazing job for Crawler, but he was very loyal to us as well. And you know, Bellew is one of the most loyal people you'll ever meet. And you know, sometimes we play a game and it's like, which fighters do you know would never leave or would be, you know, and then it's difficult because back then they didn't have the kind of managers around them that exist in the game today. Do you know what I mean? Like Carl had Rob McCracken. Rob was a stand-up guy who I trusted 100%. Darren Barker had Tony Sims, stand-up guy who I trust 100%. Tony Bellew had advisors around him who I trusted 100%. That once they told us something was happening. So, but that's actually a thing of the past.
Was Frank Smith the best decision you ever made, making him CEO? Not the big up his head, but has that been the best business decision?
Yeah, I mean, Frank has always been a project in the sense that I knew that one day he was going to go on and, you know, maybe even potentially run the company, the whole company. You know, that's the level that I see him operating at. I mean, and now what he's done is, you know, he's sitting over there. You've got to be a little bit careful, but his work rate is phenomenal. It's the only person that will match me on work rate, and maybe even beyond at times, because I do need little rests here and then. I'll take sneaky little, you know, a couple of hours in the gym or the spa, and you know, whereas he's just, you know, but he's in it and he's 32, 33. So, you know, that's, and I said to him the other day, I said, you're making more money than I was at 30. Yeah. So he's doing extremely well. But I expect him, if he wants to go and run the whole company, probably. But he's also works in boxing, where he's probably going, I can't wait to leave boxing because it's full of arseholes.
If your daughter turned around tomorrow and said, Dad, I want to work in boxing, I've decided I just want to work alongside you, what would you say to her?
Boxing? Yeah. I mean, I would never...
But she might watch what you do, right? And she might be inspired by the like of Emily Fraser that works with you.
I think Emily Fraser's amazing. Again, great work ethic, great mindset, and really inspiring to young women. You see, the thing is, again, going back to that mentality earlier, within our business, if you want it, it exists for you. Do you understand? There are absolute no barriers to how you can move through the business. But you have to understand it's a lifestyle and it's a work ethic that maybe not for you. So you get some people going, oh, well, you know, I don't really, you know, because you're not working hard enough and you're not working smart enough. Emily Fraser didn't come into the business and someone went, go on, Emily, just go and become, you know, a member of the board or go and run multisports. She proved herself at so many different levels. Frank Smith didn't just start making fortunes. He grafted from the early, and it's like, it's a commitment to the cause that is unwavering. But it's like, it has to become your life, sadly. Or not sadly, because look at what he's experienced on the journey. But it has to be it has to consume you to the point where, you see, a lot of people do their day's work, put in good effort, then go home, right? Phone kind of goes on the side. They switch off from work and they have a nice, pleasant night. Don't even really think about work. Phone's on the side, texting their mates, go on Instagram, watching a bit of Netflix, go out, go for a bit of food, go to sleep. Very clear mind. Get up the next day, morning. Oh, work. Right, off I go again. Well, that's fine. But if you want to be the one that goes all the way to the top, it has to consume you for every second you have your eyes open. And some people will say, well, that's a bit sad. That's a bit of a sad existence. Is it? Is it really a sad existence when you have something that fills you with so much passion and energy and desire and will? That's how you live your life. But it's not for everybody. That's why you have people who work 9 to 5s and they're very happy with that. Some people want to go, leave the work, switch off, see their family and not have to think about work at all. They will never be high achievers. Impossible. It has to consume you for every second you have your eyes open, and probably the entire time you're asleep as well. It's the only way. So you have to decide if that life's for you. Emily Fraser, Frank Smith, these people, they have given their entire life to the company. Now, they've lived a great life. They've travelled all around the world. They've experienced the most incredible things, but they've lost out on a lot of those things that, Frank Smith never, he's never had real, he's got mates, but he never went to Ibiza and Iron and had that. Don't forget, he started working at 15. So all throughout that time, he was travelling around the world and he was having his nights out, but it wasn't like he had the chance to be a 20-year-old or an 18-year-old. And look at where he sits now. He's made a huge amount of money, and he's going to go on and hopefully make millions and millions and millions. But he loves what he does. He loves the challenge. But it has to. The only way is that you just can't stop thinking about it.
And do you not think that for your daughter that would be...
If it consumed her, if she had a passion for it, I would never stop her from doing something. So
she's a Hearn, right? She looked at you. She looked at your dad. She looks at you. Surely,
I think that my eldest daughter is old enough now, and I see signs where it's like, when she knows how important the business is to her granddad, my dad, and me, it's impossible to not feel that, and not feel some level of excitement, and But I would actually love her to do something else and achieve in her own right, because I know what it was like doing it the way I did, which was got a little leg up, but then had to fucking go above and beyond to try and outdo my dad to actually become successful in my own name. And she would have to outdo me to become successful in her name.
We're not paying you in a way, looking at the business, and one day you are going to walk away, right? There's going to be a point. I don't think you're going to be like Aram. I don't think you're going to be around when you're 90 sitting still doing this. But does there not come a point where you say, like, you're going to have to hand this business to someone else? Is that not going to be painful?
Maybe, but look, all the conversations at the moment, there's IPO talks, there's sale talk. Look, maybe there's a point in 5 years or 10 years that me and my old man just walk away. And so,
really,
very, very possibly. I like the idea of, in a way, of before he goes, it's all said and done.
And what would you do then?
I'll be absolutely caked, and you probably never see me again.
Shut up.
No, but
you couldn't live without boxing in the next 15, 20 years.
I will never live without boxing, ever. Even if I give my time to the local amateur club and take a fucking coaching badge, I'll do that. I will always be around boxing. But I don't know. There's always the flip side argument of there's another life out there for you.
Is there really?
There's always another life out there for you. But is it the right life? This life consumes me, but it fuels me, and it gives me a purpose and a reason to get out of bed in the morning and give 110%.
But I genuinely, and I think I know you pretty well, I don't think you could live without this life. I don't think you would function like a normal person. You're not normal.
No, I'm not. No, I'm definitely not normal. But I sometimes wonder, would I be normal if I hadn't found boxing? It's been. If you speak to my mates, they'll always tell you he's always been a bit weird. Like in the respect of, when I was younger and I worked in golf and stuff like that, when I was like 18, 19, we would go out, me and my mates, till like 3, 4 in the morning, and I'd go home, get like an hour's kip, and then I'd go straight to the train station, go to Manchester all day for meetings, and then come back at like 10 o'clock at night, and they'd be like literally crawling out of bed going, Ed, did you go to Manchester? Because at that night I'm going, I've got to go to Manchester in the morning. They go, did you go to Manchester? And they've always known that I'm a little bit sick like that, and I don't know where that comes from. But it's my greatest asset, and I'm very proud of myself for that. But I'm not normal. Definitely not normal. But don't you have to be not very normal if you're going to be really good at what you do? I don't know. Like,
obviously, your dad's influenced your life so much, but what's your mum's influence been on you, and what does it still be to this day? Like, is there?
She's the brains and like the real sort of simplicity within the family. Like, we are for our success and for our wealth very, very, very normal. I think you might agree with that. Like, I mean, I don't, how I move around. It's not like I have security guards everywhere, and I have cars here in private jets and helicopters and yachts and all that. Like, you'll see me at the gate getting on an economy flight every now and again. And you might say, oh, well, big deal, you got an economy flight. Trust me, when you're travelling every week and you're queuing up in queues after queues and you're eating poxy sandwiches at the gate, but I don't even think about it. It's just, that's how I've been brought up. My mum is, she never watches these things anyway, so you ain't got to worry, the tightest one. And like when you, and not just like tight, because she'll spend, she breeds racehorses, right? Spends millions on it. So don't care about spending hundreds of thousands on vet bills, but will drive an extra 2 miles to take 10p off a packet of ham. God's honest truth. God's honest truth, right? And actually, see the difference between my dad and me. My dad is actually a little bit more of a live wire than I was. Without my mum, I think he would have spunked a lot. I think he would have done a lot. She kept him grounded because she is the iron fist, the iron lady. That's what we call her. And pretty cold. I mean, we're not a family of, we're a family of love, but they're not parents of, oh, come here, son. Oh, does that make, like, there's love, but and the affection's there, but it was never a mollycoddle. Oh, my baby Eddie. Oh, my dad was certainly never like that. So, but I think that comes with the lifestyle. Unfortunately, she has, my dad has worked his whole life, and they met when they were 15. And so when my dad met my mum, he was just some skinny oik from Dagenham, or Debden, where he moved to. Do you know what I mean? And he was like, doing like disco nights at the school, charging people to get in. He had like a car cleaning business at 15, 16. And she's seen the whole journey and development. And now they're 77. And you wouldn't, when you see them in each other's company, my mum is so ruthless, you'd think, how are they still together, right? Because this is the conversation. Dad will be sitting there. Oh, he'll sit down. She'll go, will you stop making those noises? You are disgusting, right? And it's like, and he's like, oh, all right, darling, make us an ham and pickle sandwich. Go and get it yourself. Like it, but it just works. And yeah, but she knows, she's lived that life and the life of him away a lot, like.
So does she not really see any of the fruits of the labour as such? Because you say does she?
But again, that I'm sure a lot of people in that situation would say, I'd rather you were just around. And my dad goes, oh yeah, I'd rather you were just around, yeah. But there's more to life than money. But he doesn't think so. But yeah, they've had incredible lives. My dad's had a life full of fun. But fun through the business, and what he doesn't class fun as, I don't know, going to a party and going to a nightclub. He classes fun at watching Johnny Fisher win at York Hall, or turning up last week to see the last 3 rounds of George Liddard win at York Hall, or AJ's developed. Like, that's what he classes as fun, or Fisher Mania, or player winning the World Pool Championships. That's his fun. That's his world.
Do you think if he stops, that's when he will actually pass, because he's so invested in this?
I think that what I've established, and again learning, is he semi-retired. I don't know, 10 years ago, and he's never really. I mean, like, he's never taken his eye off it 1 minute. He's not involved in any decisions, really. I mean, none at boxing. Snooker and darts a little bit more, but he's on everything. He's across all the numbers. And he's got a very active mind. And I think without that, I think he would deteriorate without any doubt. He's 77 years old, and you can't tell someone who's lived that kind of life, who's got that kind of energy. I mean, his energy's unbelievable. His energy's bigger than yours, mine, combined. All these people combined. Just wakes up every morning, fucking right, son. Like sometimes I'll be sitting there at night and you've had a long day and it'll be 10:30 or whatever, and you go, it's like Bazza, and you go, oh, like, it's your dad, you can't not take it, do you know what I mean? I'm like, Bazza, all right, son, What's happening out there? What's going on? Whoa, I've seen, I've read it all, I can't wait. This Jordan Thompson got a chance, has he? I don't know, Bazzy, yeah. What about the undercard? What is Pat Brown? I like this Pat Brown. And it's like, but that the energy across all the sports, and like I'm boxing mad. He's boxing mad. He's darts mad. He's snooker mad. He's fishing mad. He's pool mad. He knows everything about everything.
When you make a personal achievement, is he still the first person that you call?
A personal achievement?
Like, even, what about a business achievement? If you do a deal for a fight, do you ring him?
If I do a big business deal or I make a big personal achievement, I rarely celebrate it these days.
It's a bit sad, Ed.
Yeah, a little bit, but
Why?
Because I've got things to do. There's something else, and you know, I've
Okay, you banged Ben when you made that fight. Not after the first time. Well, actually, maybe the first time. Did you ring your dad first?
No. I've not rung him on anything like that, really, because there's something else to do. Like literally, it's always something else. And you know what? Another thing that I've learned is, and then this might be a little bit sad. And I think maybe you've always got to shift your mindset. That's just what I'm thinking now. Doesn't mean that it's right, but something bad's coming. What? But you've got to be. What did Bruce Lee say? You've got to be like water, right? My dad's different to that. My dad, if he'd done a deal like that, would open up 5 bottles of champagne and go, "Wah!" and go around the office and go, "Wah, wah, wah." We've got a bell in the office that he put in, that when you do a deal, you've got to ring the bell, right? It's like fucking Wall for Wall.
Do you use it?
No, don't use it. But what I'm saying is, I'm different. I'm going, wow, that's massive. Fuck me, we've got problems there. But I bet someone pulls out of the fight tomorrow anyway. I know, but maybe that's a wrong mindset. But it's my mindset. Be like water, my friend.
Right, this is
Emotions. Doesn't mean you have to be emotionless in life. But
you are a bit emotional still, aren't you, as a person?
A little bit.
You know, my mum said to me when she watched the documentary, she said, I really like Eddie, but I just feel like he needs a hug. Like he doesn't have any emotion. He doesn't show any emotion. So I feel like people on the outside probably think that about you, that you're.
I've had a huge amount of responses from the documentary. People saying like, you know, I just want you to know that you are great and you are enough. And you know, I'm like, oh, that's fine. I don't need to be told that. But I'm definitely. I think boxing makes you emotionless. To be honest. Again, not the experience of fighting like that won't change for me, but. Yeah, I don't really. Everybody needs a cuddle now and again, don't they? I don't need a cuddle right now.
You'll be calling my mum, yeah.
But what's your mum's name?
Teresa.
All right, Teresa. Thank you for your kind words. I don't need a hug right now, but thank you for thinking of me and looking out for me.
Right, we'll end this on one thing.
Conversation.
I know. I don't know where it went. Yeah.
Better than talking about.
It is actually.
Any news on AJ that I asked you 12 hours about?
Right, last one. What piece of advice would you give to 18-year-old Eddie Hearn if he was starting out now?
Just let it play out. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. I need to. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. Just consistency is the absolute winner in life for everything. Ability is something you can't. It's God-given. Right? But hard work and consistency is something that you control. Your breaks, your opportunities, that's life, that's fate, that's God-given. Hard work and consistency, you control. Do the right things, work as hard as you can, and opportunities will come. Sometimes they take longer than others. Sometimes you fluke one. Sometimes you get given one. Sometimes you run into one. But they will come. But hard work and consistency are two things that you control.
Edward, appreciate it. Thanks, mate.
In this sport, you don't wait for judges to decide your fate. TenexToken puts you in control. Stake instantly, speculate discreetly, and keep your moves private. TenexToken. Play smart, play discreet.